what does it mean to be a godly man? And I wrestled with this idea. I wrestled with this whole idea of what it meant to be a godly man, because I know what I was raised on, what it meant to be a godly man.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Daniel.
I'm Kyle.
Listen, we're just two dudes who met Jesus, and we want to make this very simple and let you know that you can have the same thing. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you smash that subscribe button.
Welcome back to Built For. Now, Kyle, you absolutely killed it on this. And if you notice, we left it blank, Built For. I think for us, being built for something, it just means you can't just put it in a box.
Yep.
Like, you're going to be built for different things. I think the best place to start is built for ourselves. Is built for ourselves. And being a godly man and doing all this, you know, for me, being a godly man, being built for myself, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be a godly man? And I wrestled with this idea. I wrestled with this whole idea of what it meant to be a godly man, because I know what I was raised on, what it meant to be a godly man.
Yeah.
I had godly men in my life, but it was only what I viewed on the outside. I didn't really get to see what was on the inside. So like what's your experience in that as far as godly men? Like did you have that mentorship growing up? What does that even mean? What does a godly man mean?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So to answer your question, flat out, no, I did not have that representation, and I did not have that guidance and any of that. So and one thing right off the bat before we even really get started, I just want to say I am not in a position of leadership as in a preacher or a pastor or anything. And there's a lot of work that I have to do, and I don't find myself self-righteous at all.
Yeah.
So, I don't want anybody to see what we're saying and go, yeah, whatever. I'm a normal guy, just like you're a normal guy. And I think that's what we're trying to really reach, those kind of people. But as far as your question, honestly, I think a lot of people, without even just subconsciously, are godly men and godly people.
Okay, what do you mean?
What I mean by that is just overall just being a good person.
Okay.
If you boil it down as being a good person, in my opinion. So that means just, treating people respectfully, having love in your heart, not hating people, being a leader, right? And not kind of like what you said last week, not in the sense of do this, do that, do that.
Yeah.
But just putting other people's needs before yours and helping people just get through whatever they got to get through. I think being a godly man is obviously having a strong relationship with God and Jesus, and
right,
praying and worship, and just being vulnerable and not taking yourself so serious that you're putting yourself above anything else. And I think that, to me, that's what a godly man is. And obviously you have the biblical knowledge. And so you'll be able to share with us.
You remember Kyle's disclaimer? Let me put my disclaimer out there. I'm not a pastor. I'm just a normal dude too. And I think that's what makes this is so cool. Is again, what I love about this aspect is, so I come from a mentorship of godly men, right?
Okay.
My grandpa, my dad, godly men, right? You just said you come from no mentorship of godly men, but in some way, shape, or form, we have both become godly men and are sitting here talking about it, right?
100%,
right?
Yeah.
So people watching and people listening to this, sitting there probably wondering man, what does that mean? What does a godly man mean? When I grew up in church, it was, hey, pray harder, serve more,
Right.
Worship more, just read your Bible more. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, so I'm going to pray more. I'm going to worship more. But I still found myself down the line of not being a godly man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so it's got to be more. It's got to be bigger, right?
Yeah.
Bigger than that. So I'll give the biblical answer in a little bit, but for me, I was like, man, it's not just about praying more, worshiping more, reading more. I had to really figure out what the Bible was telling me, and what's also hard is you're competing with what the world's telling you to be a godly man.
Right.
I thought being a godly man meant work harder, provide more, because I watched so many people on like Instagram and YouTube,
yeah.
all these guys, they worked harder, they provide more. So the highlight reels of their life showed that they had better families. So in my mind, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
more fame, more fortune, more family.
Right.
When in reality, man, that's not
Yeah.
at all what it means. So like when I had to think about, okay, so like how can I really redefine what a godly man is? Like how do I fight this battle between the world telling me what it is and the church telling me what it is and me trying to figure out what it is, especially with godly men in my life.
Yeah.
Like you had to figure that out on your own.
Yeah.
And I love what you said is just being a good person, because I think that's also a dangerous trap,
Right.
because if I'm just a good person, then I don't really need to do anything else.
Right.
So like, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, in my experience, and everything I say is through just my experience.
Dude, here, ready? Disclaimer. We're not medical advisors. This is literally built for, right? Two dudes who met Jesus and want other people to know they can have the same.
And that's yes, absolutely. So basically, it's like what we talked about last week. I've always been a good dude, even though I was living in sin. You can live in sin and then appear to be a good dude.
Right.
Right? You're doing all the correct things per se.
Yeah.
You know, you care for people and whatnot, but you're still acting a fool. You
Right.
know what I mean? And so, just going back to finding it for myself, I think it just came down to, I think just the stresses and overall, I felt everything was just kind of piling up. And, you know, just navigating things alone. And then it was then when I realized, once I started, you know, reading the Bible and praying more, and then when I, you know, I had my testimony, when I met Jesus, all those things went away. The sin didn't go away because we're sinners. You know?
Yeah.
But the repentance of that, and then moving forward, and then trying to follow a life with Jesus instead of how we were living, right? And so I think I think you need people to, you either got to find it on your own, which I think is very hard. Because I want to share something that was really cool. It happened last night. What's her name, brother? Worship team singer.
Ashley?
Nope, the other one.
Izzy?
Not Izzy, the other one. Was it Bella?
Bella.
Yeah. She was giving a testimony last night. Absolutely beautiful. And so they were singing a song. They were singing what song? It was about CeCe Winans. Anyway, they were singing, and I was in my feels. I was in it. I'm worshiping, and you know, bro, I'm a cupper. We talked about this.
You brought it back, bro.
I'm a cupper.
Yeah.
And so, but last night they were singing that song, bro, and the Holy Spirit, something just took over, and I don't ever do it. And I raised my hands. I had my hands up. I had the Bible in one hand, my other hand's up, and I'm not gonna talk about her testimony because hers the tell. I'm gonna give a snippet that just resonated with me because it was so real. For like 5 minutes during that song while they were singing, the whole time I was praying, why did it take me so long to find Jesus? And I was like, I've gone my whole life without it. And the crazy thing is, she started telling her testimony, and she's crying, and she literally said out loud, why did it take so long? Dog. Insane, bro. I'm still shaking. Like, I got goosebumps right now. You can't see them, but I got goosebumps because I was like, there's no way she just said that. There's no way she just said that. And so, just to go off on a tangent, it just...
Why did it take so long?
Why did it take so long, bro?
Man, that's an awakening moment. It really is an awakening moment, and I think a lot of us ask that, like, as you go back to being a dude right now, is like when you finally, we'll call it wake up, like when you finally wake up, and you're just like, man, dude, yeah, I was a good person, but why did it take me so long to realize what it meant to be a godly good person?
Right.
And like when you walk and you're like, hey, Jesus, tell me what it means to be, like, give me what it really means to be a godly man. Like, really show me what it means to be a godly man. It almost takes the good parts of you.
Yeah.
It takes the good parts that you thought were good.
Yeah.
and then you compare it to what the Bible calls you to, and you're just like, so maybe I wasn't as good, but man, amplify it with the Bible and it becomes great. Great. I think if anything, dude, one of the most powerful things you just shared right there was your ability to be like, I surrender.
Surrender.
Yeah. A lot of guys, a lot of people I talk to, they think the worship thing is weird.
Right.
And I'm not saying you have to worship this
Yeah,
way. I'm not saying you worship this way, like, this way. But I think it's not the motion of the hands, it's the posture of the heart.
100%.
And I think if the posture of the heart is a heart of surrender,
Yes.
until that surrender happens, do you think you could ever allow yourself to be a godly man?
Honestly, I think that's what makes you the godly man.
The surrender.
The surrender.
Because if you're not surrendering,
Right.
pride will still.
Right.
And I have a hard time, and this is a part of me that I have a really hard time with is when I'm talking to people and they're just like, yeah, I'm a good person. I don't really need God. I don't need church. And I'm just like, I know you're a good person. I know you are. To me, that's the most dangerous person.
Yeah.
Because, and it makes you realize the verse where God says, like, don't be like lukewarm water. I'll spit you out.
Yes.
It's like you're neither hot nor
Right,
cold.
you're lukewarm.
I understand that, because I think a lukewarm, I'm just thinking like a person that just exists, but it's like, no, it's the person that says, I'm just a good man.
Right.
I'm a good man. That's a dangerous person. You want to know why? Because they're not desperate enough to need God, and they're not far enough away to where, or they're not close enough to God to where they're like, man, they rely heavily on Him.
Right.
They're just in the middle.
They're just there, right. When they're, like you said, it's like a trap.
It's a trap.
It's like you're trapped mentally and spiritually and all that because, like you said, you think you're a good person.
Yeah.
And you're relying on yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think it takes that person it takes that person probably to go into a very negative route in order to find their way back.
Bro, do you think, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
All right. Do you think we should let guys fall sometimes instead of trying to save them so they can get to a place to where they can become healthy and realize their need for God?
I think sometimes it has to happen.
Yeah.
And that's just a personal opinion. I'm kind of going through it right now, and it's not on a spiritual level, but my stepson is having a hard time in school. I'm just leave it at that. He's having a hard time.
Yeah.
And I finally just looked at my wife and said, maybe we just got to let it happen, let him fail, so he can learn from his mistakes. And so the fact that you just asked that question, it's that I'm kind of going through something like that right now. And I think a lot of people, I think most people find God when they're at their lowest. And I could be wrong, but that's where I found him.
Me too.
And so I think sometimes when you're just, especially if you have a good relationship with somebody and they are open to what you're saying, and they're still going the opposite direction, I think that's when he's okay. My hands are off. I'm gonna let God do His thing. I planted that seed. Hopefully it takes.
Yeah.
And
man, you're 100% right. Like, I truly do think that you're right in that of like letting the things happen. You look at trying to think, like, you look at David, right?
Yep.
And God saying, man, that's a man after my own heart.
Right.
But my man also committed adultery and murder.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think for people, like, I'm not giving people an excuse to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But
disclaimer.
Yeah. But you don't have to be perfect for God to see who you are.
Can't be perfect.
In that same story, God looks at the inward where the world looks at the outward. How good are you doing? There's a big difference between how good are you doing and like, how good are you doing?
Right, for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think a lot of our minds hear that and say, how good I am doing is determined by how much stuff and how many things I have, where when God asks that, how are you really doing? That is like, man, what's going on in here?
Yeah, 100%.
One in here. So being like somebody who's struggling right now there's a lot of dudes in church right now that have no idea like what it means to be a godly man, because the church is just like, well, go open doors and go serve and do the thing, and it's like, go join a small group, and it's like, but like, how do you take it from just being in a small group to like a brotherhood?
Right,
Because you can't do this alone.
No, you
You
can't.
got to have the church. You got to have the community. How do you get guys to lower their walls to a place where it's like, get that pride and ego out of the way and just be like, so needs to be a brotherhood.
Right, exactly. No, I feel you, and that's a tough question because I think if we had the answer to that question, a lot of this would be very simple.
Yeah.
Um, the person I think has to be willing to surrender. If they're not willing, it's going to be very hard. Even if they're saying, I don't know how, I'm open to it, but I'm struggling, you have an in. You know what I mean? You have a chance. That person's trying.
Yeah.
If you have that person that's just completely shut off, that's when I think you plant that seed and hope it sprouts.
Yeah. Did you have dudes? Did you have like dudes or guys? You didn't have the mentors necessarily. Did you have guys around you that supported the faith? Or did you find that once you found faith, it was so important that you had to go find guys like that?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
'Cause once I found faith, I was like, I got to find people that are like-minded. And the thing is, and I know the topic of conversation, it might be the next episode, so I'm going to hit on it briefly. But the isolation part is I spent a lot of time alone. I don't want to go too much in depth.
No, yeah, we'll hit that.
To it. But once you come out of that and once you realize that you can't do it by yourself,
Yeah.
I think that's when the change really starts happening.
So if we were to take this and like for somebody that's sitting there like, oh man, I'm a good person, I don't need it. Like somebody that's struggling with this and saying, man, I really just need to be like, I just really want to be a godly man for my family, and I'm tired of doing the rat race. I'm tired of doing the hamster wheel.
Yep.
Like how are we going to define it? How can we define it as two just normal dudes?
Yeah, as two.
About to check my notes.
Yeah, check your notes, because I mean, honestly, for me, if it's a person saying I'm already a good dude, you have to be willing. I think it just goes back to the willingness to surrender.
Yeah.
How do I elevate? If you're a person who is always content with where you are, that's going to be a hard person to, you know. But if you have that person who's trying to figure out how do I become better, I know I'm good. I've been doing the right things. I'm not doing this and that.
Yeah.
But how do I get better? Then I think that's when, you know, you got to start reading.
Yeah.
You know, you rely on God, you surrender. And
So it's like a surrender before strength.
I think that's what it is. Because again, I'm speaking from experience, just from my experiences. And I fully gave I said it out loud. I said it during prayer. I said, God, you have my heart. Like, I surrender 100%. Like, I am yours. Do what you will.
A lot of us try to be strong before we surrender. So a lot of us are like, man, we just got to be
trying to be strong our whole life.
Yeah, we got to be strong. And if you're always trying to be strong, can you ever really surrender? Because in the strength, you're always fighting.
Yep. And you're relying on yourself.
So surrender, you got to surrender before you'll ever find the true strength that you have.
100%.
Another thing that sticks out to me is being able to be broken before perfection.
100%.
Like, I think we all have to try to be perfect. Like we talked about this last time, always trying to be perfect. But sometimes it's in the brokenness that we really find ourselves. Like, God's got to break it down and put it back together.
I fully agree. Because he's going to show you that your way don't work. He did it with me.
How long did you fight it?
Dog, I'm 35. I found Jesus last summer.
Started fighting it. I was still fighting it this morning. Yeah.
I literally, my experience happened last summer. This time last year. I've only been in this for a year. And I've been, since then, just eyes on Jesus. And I try to move like Jesus. I try to live by his example. Dude, I read this somewhere, but and a lot of guys, I think once you find your faith, I think it's really important to take baby steps. And this is why I say this.
Ooh, okay, go ahead.
I say this because Jesus was, like you said last week, was not normal. He's not normal. This dude was perfect.
Yeah.
My man was perfect.
Yeah.
And so I think guys get discouraged from faith because they know they can't be perfect and they're trying to follow that example. And so instead it overwhelms them because they're trying to be perfect and they haven't surrendered to God.
That's good. That's good. So surrender before strength, brokenness before perfection.
100%.
This ain't a motivational talk right now. You know, a bunch of dudes about to be like, those self-help books are wrong. Well, yeah, we need to stop watching this. Go read some self-help books. But no, it shouldn't. And then I think the last thing is really understanding the identity of the person.
Yes.
Like really finding out who you want to be.
Yeah.
Because if you try to be someone you're not and live a life that is not you,
100%.
man, you're just living a lie.
You're just living a lie.
I did that for a long time.
I think
Chameleon.
Yeah.
Chameleon style.
Yeah.
And like until you know who you are,
Yep.
like really who you are,
Yeah.
then it's going to be impossible.
It's gonna be
It's going to be impossible. Tell me, like, what's one thing you've learned about yourself, just like identity-wise?
So, I can give you a couple.
Yeah.
Right off the bat was, and I kind of hint on it last episode. Everything I did, I felt like I had to be the best.
Mm.
It don't matter what it was. I don't care
Yeah.
if it was a game. I don't care if it was doing yard. It doesn't matter. I felt like I had to be the best. And I grew up with that because I played sports my whole life. And I was a top performer.
Mm-hmm.
I took that same attitude into the work environment. Top performer. Playing games. It stresses you out.
Mm.
And one thing I learned was to stop trying to be the best. Stop trying to show off for people. Stop trying to impress people.
Mm-hmm.
Just because all you're doing is stressing yourself out.
Yeah. Bro, you know what's crazy is like, we're not that important.
No, we're not.
Like we are so important to the purpose,
Yeah.
but in the grand scheme of things, I think we view ourselves as more important than we really are.
Take
God's
ourselves way too serious.
God's purpose and God's, like, we get to be part of the purpose.
Right.
And we are purposed.
Yes.
But God's plan is way bigger than all of us. And I think if we can just take the weight off and just be like, man, we get an opportunity to partner with God in the purpose for our lives. And not, hey, I'm carrying God's purpose on my shoulders. It's my job to carry his purpose. It's like there is a burden with following Jesus. It's not easy. The Bible tells us it's not easy.
It's not easy.
But it's like Jesus already put all the weight on his shoulders
Right.
when he was crucified on the cross. It's our job to just partner with God to be more like Jesus every day and carry out the mission.
100%.
Man, it adds a weight, but it adds a different type of weight, but gives me a peace to know, like, okay, I don't have to like hold myself to this crazy standard that's unattainable. I just need to strive for a standard every day of my life. And if I strive for the standard of being like Jesus
That's it,
and then live unapologetically for him,
Yep. And when you fail, know you're going to fail, repent, and just rely on Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
You're not going to be perfect, but you nailed it. I think that's it.
bro, surrender, brokenness, which leads you to your identity. You be like Jesus, and bro, everything else lines up.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Daniel.
I'm Kyle.
Listen, we're just two dudes who met Jesus, and we want to make this very simple and let you know that you can have the same thing. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you smash that subscribe button.